So at the end of the day, this is another example, in my opinion, of the state making a series of bad and fraudulent decisions and then basically not dealing with the fallout from it, either in a timely way or an efficient way. And I think the public is becoming increasingly irritated by the fact that the government appears to be incapable of, first of all, making good decisions, and secondly, cleaning up the mess that it creates, which it gives itself the job of doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry, I mean, you can give as much verbal baby food waffle as you want, but the fact is we need to get this right.
Watch how Rupert Lowe launches one of his strongest attacks yet, accusing the government of covering up the Post Office Horizons scandal and failing thousands of innocent sub-postmasters. He demands accountability, questions why taxpayers are footing the bill, and presses officials on whether those responsible will ever be held to account. Before we continue, please like and subscribe to Debate Centre for more political analysis. Now keep watching.
Rupert Lowe, please.
Yes, I've studied this post office situation in quite some depth. Indeed, I've written articles about it. I couldn't disagree with both of you more. I think this is a massive state fraud. The knowledge of the flaw within the software, in the Fujitsu written software, was known for a long time, and it was covered up. And as you know, the Post Office has a government covenant, an ability to actually prosecute people. Mm-hmm. So they were going around prosecuting people on the basis of a fraud, which they knew about. So at the end of the day, this is another example, in my opinion, of the state making a series of bad and fraudulent decisions and then basically not dealing with the fallout from it, either in a timely way or an efficient way. And I think the public is becoming increasingly irritated by the fact that the government appears to be incapable of, first of all, making good decisions, and secondly, cleaning up the mess that it creates, which it gives itself the job of doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry, I mean, you can give as much verbal baby food waffle as you want, but the fact is we need to get this right.
I think we've got the point absolutely. Gareth and Carl, do you want to...
May I come back in on that one? I mean, I think we should be judged on our results and how much has been paid out at this point. If the committee is looking at where we have got to with the different schemes, we have paid out over 1.5 billion to 12,600 claimants. There are definitely lessons to learn, and we're here to talk about that today, about what we've done, and we've tried to apply them in later schemes. But fundamentally, I think we are in a place where 80% of the claimants have had the money, and we should be through a lot of them by the end of this calendar year. On your broader point around who exactly did what, I'm sure there are failings that need to be revealed through the Horizon inquiry. I'm expecting that to report later this year. Sir Wyn Williams has already said in his first report last July that the Post Office executives should have or could have known what was going on in the organisation. So to that extent, I agree with the thrust of what you're saying, but I think we have a stronger delivery record than you're giving us credit for.
Rupert Lowe wastes no time setting the tone. Rather than focusing only on compensation, he argues the real scandal lies in what officials knew before innocent people were prosecuted. He claims the Horizon software flaws were known long before convictions continued, raising serious questions about accountability and transparency. Officials respond by pointing to compensation already paid and the ongoing public inquiry. But Lowe's criticism is broader. He believes the state must fully confront how these failures happened in the first place.
Fine, but there are a lot of people who've died without getting any compensation at all, as you know, because this has taken so long to be dealt with.
Yes, yeah, that is a matter of deep regret, as I say.
So I have one fundamental question to ask, and I don't mind which of you ask. Maybe this is a question for you, Kat, I don't know, but it may be a question for our everybody who's involved with Post Office. I think the public out there will want to know why it is that we've still not got a single penny in compensation from Fujitsu. Why is it that the British taxpayer always has to bear the can for the company's mistakes? If they've made a mistake, they should surely be the ones that should compensate. The same thing is probably true of the American blood companies and the affected blood scandal. And there may well be other liabilities in the other schemes. So one of you, I would be grateful to know what the government is doing about this, because it does seem to me that the British taxpayer should not be bearing all the burden on these schemes.
Yes, I definitely agree with you in relation to Fujitsu. I will leave the infected blood question to others. my ministers agree with you as well, and they have been having conversations with Fujitsu about it, and we are in negotiation and discussion with Fujitsu about what a reasonable settlement would look like. We, at this point, are awaiting the outcome for the Horizon inquiry, because I think that will help us nail Fujitsu down for a specific number. They have not at this point offered a specific number, but they have made a commitment, and they've recognised their moral obligation to contribute towards the costs of the scandal, and we plan to hold them to that. But at this point, I don't have a number to give to you.
So there is an intention that Fujitsu should compensate. Can we be assured that the government will push this hard and, if necessary, take it to court?
I am sure you can have that reassurance from me, yes. And if you would like a private briefing about our negotiations with Fujitsu at a later point, I'd be very happy with my colleagues to do that.
The hearing then shifts to one of the biggest financial questions surrounding the scandal. Rupert Lowe asks why British taxpayers should bear the cost when Fujitsu supplied the software at the centre of the controversy. Officials confirm they are negotiating with the company and intend to seek a financial contribution, but they cannot say how much Fujitsu will ultimately pay. Lowe's argument is simple. Those responsible should be held financially accountable, not the public.
I'll take you up on that, Carl. Thank you very much. Does anybody want to talk about infected blood? Oh, Kat, I see you want to come in.
Could I just add to the Fujitsu side of the question? David should answer on infected blood. Fujitsu is a strategic supplier to government, and I would also just add to Carl's offer, I'd be very happy to come and talk to you about the wider commercial arrangements that we have put in place.
David, do you have anything to add on affected blood? Because I think this is one of the really awful ones. We heard some of the terrible testimony of children dying one thing and another on Monday. Really, really terrible. I think people will be looking to know why we're not taking this up with the American blood suppliers.
It is a truly terrible scandal, and what the inquiry uncovered is an awful testimony of what happened to people. I understand. So our authority is set up with one objective only, which is to pay the compensation that everybody is due. I do understand that there are some police investigations underway about what happened and what was uncovered in the inquiry. As to where we are on seeking redress from American pharmaceutical companies, I don't know. So perhaps we could find out and write to you.
Could I perhaps offer again to talk to you privately, given the commercial sensitivities? The other thing I would just add is the historic nature of some of this, which is obviously part of the damage that has been caused to victims of the infected blood scandal, is the fact this has taken so long for redress to take place. And sadly, it has also impacted our ability to historically go back and take some of the action that we would have ideally wanted to have taken.
Thank you. Yes, we may well take you both up on that. Thank you for that offer anyway. Clive.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just coming back to Fujitsu for a second, if I might. Clearly, there are discussions going on, as been referred to. Kat Little, you said that they're a strategic partner supplier to government as a company. So I think people often scratch their heads and think they've made major failings here, which they engaged in a cover-up about, and yet we're carrying on awarding them new contracts.
And again, I'm really sorry that I can't go into the detail of some of that in this forum. Every single contract that's awarded in government is assessed under the Procurement Act and under the procurement legislation that we have to undertake. I am very happy to take you through some of the more sensitive and I think pertinent information privately.
It's true, isn't it, that the government have changed the approach on procurement fairly recently so that account can be taken of past performance in a more effective way when awarding contracts in the future?
That's correct. So we have new powers under the Procurement Act 2024 that allows us to look at investigations that lead to debarment procedures.
Right. Okay, perhaps we could have a further briefing in the light of that about this situation.
I'd be happy to give you a further briefing.
Attention then turns to Fujitsu's continuing relationship with government. Committee members question why a company linked to one of Britain's biggest miscarriages of justice is still being awarded public contracts. officials explain that procurement decisions are governed by legal rules and recent legislation allows greater consideration of previous performance. Even so, the exchange highlights continuing public concern over whether government suppliers face meaningful consequences when major failures occur.
Before you go into
Yes,
your question, I think we just need to be, as a committee, quite careful about accusing people of fraud. If we've got specific evidence of that, that's fine, but in the absence of specific evidence, it's quite a big step, and it's a legal step, so just be a little bit careful. Clive.
Okay. Moving on to what was known about Horizon, and then I'll come on to the issues of the LGBT and the Ministry of Defence as well. Just going back to the answers that Gareth and Carl gave to the chair about the knowledge of likely numbers at the beginning. I'm sorry, I just don't understand how the Post Office in particular did not know who they had been pursuing and demanding payback from. They knew, didn't they? And if they weren't giving that information to you, then they effectively were either hiding it or denying it.
I suspect that their records were so poor, as Gareth was saying, that they did not know at that point how many people had experienced shortfalls through their system. We have, as Gareth mentioned, experienced quite a bit of difficulty getting disclosure of documents out of the Post Office records. There were millions and millions of documents. They obviously knew who they had prosecuted and how many people had been prosecuted. But what we're talking about here is the people who continued to work as postmasters but had experienced some issues, often quite small, for small sums of money, day to day in their time in the Post Office. It was only when the Horizon Shortfall Scheme was launched that they then experienced an influx of people.
The final exchange explores how difficult it has been to establish the true scale of the Horizon scandal. Officials argue that poor record-keeping and incomplete disclosure from the Post Office slowed compensation efforts, while committee members question how such basic information was unavailable for so long. The discussion reinforces the wider issue raised throughout the hearing. Restoring public confidence requires transparency, accountability, and answers for the victims who waited years for justice. The Horizon scandal continues to raise difficult questions about accountability, compensation, and public trust. Rupert Lowe's challenge reflected concerns shared by many victims who are still waiting for complete justice. Whether further action follows remains to be seen. Subscribe to Debate Centre for more UK Parliament debates and in-depth political analysis.